It's time. Once more, darkness falls upon the city. That's a long one. You wake up, same as you have these past few nights. In a windowless room. As you pry open the reinforced steel door, you look out the windows to see, invariably, a sky bereft of sunlight, and then it hits you, the hunger. For a moment, you let yourself wonder if there will ever come a night when it's just not there. Given what you've learned thus far, you probably have as much chance of kicking, starting your heart with jumper cables. You lock the door behind you and head over to Sophie's apartment. You did promise to call on her, might as well not keep the lady waiting. And hey, what else are you gonna do? Get in touch with your boss? He's probably looking for you, if only to scold you for the unattended files piling up on your desk. But what is he gonna do? Call the cops? Not worth the hassle. You're almost hoping the few co-workers that seem to give a shit about you were faking it. It would make things easier. A fresh start, from the ground up. Just like old times. These thoughts put you in a weird mood. It's a strange sensation to walk the crowded streets, same as you have so many times before, but feeling so disconnected. All these people, you're not one of them. Not anymore. You're a vampire, Kindred, and you need to carve your own path in this strange new existence, one way or another. Appropriately enough, you arrive at Sophie's building just as that thought crosses your mind. A quick word with the security guard and you're let into the elevator. Apparently Miss Langley is expecting you. Of course she is. You knock and wait patiently, as the footsteps of the other side grow closer. Finally, the door opens and Gregory, Sophie's driver, invites you in. You find the lady herself standing by the window. Silhouetted, I was hoping she's gonna be there. Okay. Silhouetted against the city's midnight glow, she stares at you, motionless, like a marble statue. Good evening, Sophie. She doesn't react immediately, but seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely blurry eyes. Yes, good evening, Carl. I was wondering, when you look out at this city, when you see the lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think about? Gaze out. The lights and rain, the relentless honking below, music blasting from a nearby window, echoing off buildings. Someone should record an hour of this and throw it up on YouTube as an ambient piece. Other than that, it's business as usual. The sights, the sounds, the smells, you know them all too well. Sophie watches you. You can tell she's disappointed somehow, but she covers it up with courteous smile. Yeah. I think like a Ventrue, not like a Toreador. Well, not everybody can appreciate the intricacies that the world offers. In fact, among Kindred, my clan is somewhat notorious for finding innate meaning even in the mundane. You see, the blood that flows within me is the clan of the Toreador. There are 13 such bloodlines among Kindred, though that number has been contested in the past, and these nights it seems that nothing is certain anymore. The clans have gone by many epithets over by the years, but the names used these nights have their roots in medieval times. The original Inquisition, if you can believe it. They use these to categorize us, describe our inherent differences. In time, we adopted them ourselves. Each clan has a uniqueness about it, inescapable, originating from an ancient progenitor carried from sire to childer. From the Toreador, the gift lies in a sensitivity of sorts. We are uniquely attuned to beauty and ugliness both. We can see either where most cannot. A blessing on most nights, occasionally a curse. The sheriff is of my clan as well. Oh, so he was a Toreador also. Makes sense. The the good style. Although you'd be hard-pressed to see him as such. Poor Coterie, breaks my heart to see him in this state. Still, there is a beauty to it as well. Nothing like a good fall from grace. Try as she might to act playful, you can tell she genuinely cares. She lets her gaze wander for a brief moment, but is quick to regain her composure. Then there are the Ventrue, known for their pride and a proclivity to rule over others. The prince represents that clan, as it's quite common in our society around the globe. Where the blue bloods think themselves rulers, the Bruja like to see themselves as preeminent revolutionaries. They call for a universal rebellion while being slaves to their own temper. We don't discuss the rebel much anymore, not after they've largely broken off with the Camarilla. To think they were philosophers once, long ago. I hope to tell you more about some of the other bloodlines tonight. Was clans stick together? I know she already told us it's almost each for their own. What's my clan? Do you know what my clan is? No, I can only guess it based on certain aspects of your behavior and tastes. You will need to come to your own conclusion and seek validation from your clanmates if you require such a thing. As you will no doubt learn, some kindred fit these stereotypes more than others. The blood is hard to deny, though there are certainly those who try. But that is perhaps a subject for another time. I invited you here for a reason. There is something I wanted to speak to you about. It is customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes these are called by the prince themselves, or mandated by a fledgling sire. In our case, you may treat it as more of a strong recommendation. I want you to seek out companions, not only because you need to learn more about our society, but also because it is useful. True friendships are rare among kindred, but having allies, even temporary ones, is something of a necessity these nights. We might be selfish creatures, but we are drawn to each other nonetheless. Where should I look for allies? Not any suggestion of where I should look for allies. I was just about to get to that. She puts on a mysterious smile. I spent my precious time last night asking around, pondering potential kindred for you to meet. Came up with a short list of contacts. I hope you'll appreciate the gesture. Forging a partnership with them might offer perspectives and viewpoints that I cannot provide. Lenses through which to view our kind. They are all members of the Camarilla, of course. More or less. Okay. What are they? Yeah. Alright then, let's hear it. Who is on the list? Eager to learn about them, I see. Good. I'm glad. So let us start with the Tremere. They are a powerful clan, disliked by many but feared and respected by many more. They have been an important pillar of the Camarilla since the very beginning. They are blood sorcerers. Blood sorcerers? You flash back to one of those nights when your ex would stay up late playing video games. Not a pleasant connotation. Sophie sneakers. Okay. Okay, I guess our girl doesn't like video games. Jesus. Oh, child, don't be caught with that look on your face when you meet a warlock in person. They really are adept at using vitae, their own as well as others, unique and potent effects. Since they are quite rigid in their hierarchy, the kindred I have in mind for you might need some persuading. His name is Agathon. From what I hear, he's quite a scholar, very ambitious, the child of a noted Tremere here in New York, Aisling Sturbridge. Spend enough time with Agathon, and I'm sure you'll run into her sooner or later. Blood magic, intriguing. Oh yes, fascinating. It is also a well-kept secret of the Tremere. Don't expect them to share it right away. Some things have to be earned. Anyway, if you wish to contact the young Tremere, I hear you can usually find him in a new age bookstore out on Broadway. Of course, the Tremere is gonna be on a fucking bookstore, nerds. The Tremere have one of their workshops there. Gregory will give you the details. Now, this next recommendation comes with a bit of a caveat. As you recall me saying, my bloodlines have unique features that might not be obvious at first glance. Well, there is one clan whose members wear their curse on their sleeve. The Nosferatu. The way she said it, you're pretty sure it should mean something to you. Other than sounding foreign, it doesn't ring any bells. No wonder they make their havens in sewers, abandoned buildings, and such. Their appearance is hideous and obviously unnatural. Had they walked the streets like other kindred, the kind would have learned of our existence long ago. Did she just shudder? It's hard to tell with her usual complexion, but you could swear her skin suddenly took on an even more sickly color. Just thinking about the Nosferatu. She was disgusted. The one I had in mind isn't as big an eyesore as the worst of them, but he is no Adonis either. Still, he has some talents and connections that you might find useful. His name is D'Angelo, and he has an office, for lack of a better term, in the otherwise abandoned grain terminal in Red Hook, right next to the ones of the Swedish stores. The name escapes me. The one with the awful furniture. What, IKEA? Swedish furniture store? You mean IKEA? Yes, that's it. My mind struggles to retain things that are aesthetically displeasing. D'Angelo does odd jobs for Kadir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who would prefer to remain hidden, the kind of work the Nosferatu are best at. He's on a case right now, something to do with kind murderers, I think. After we initially brush with our dear sheriff, I think it would be wise to show some goodwill towards his agenda. Assisting D'Angelo with his investigation might be just the thing. She takes a brief pause to look out the window again. Now, come the two more exotic proposals. Exotic? As if the blood mage and the vampire detective weren't business as usual. Okay, here we go. You may have heard about the Gangrel before. They are a wild clan in touch with their beast in a way others might not dare to attempt. They mostly keep out of big cities, but there are exceptions. Nominally, they haven't been part of the Camarilla for over 2 decades, but the one kindred I would like you to meet has strong, shall we say, familial ties with the sect. Her name is Tamika. Her sire, Jezebel. I feel like I should know Jezebel. Jezebel was instrumental during the Battle of New York back in 1999, the very same battle that cemented the city as a Camarilla domain. Sadly, her achievements have gone largely unrecognized. Tamika and a number of her siblings still reside in the domain they were awarded after the battle, Prospect Park. Jezebel herself left the city some years ago, fed up with being underappreciated. Anything more about Tamika? Okay, fine. I asked around. Out of all the Jezebel's children, Tamika is known to be the most rational and cool-headed, at least for a gangrel. That said, she's likely to have a unique way of appraising your worth. I cannot say how exactly, but you should be prepared for an interesting conversation at the very least. She's gonna check if I can back up what I say. That's a Bruja thing. I don't remember. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be something to test my guts. Then again, that could be said for almost every kindred in this city. There's that mysterious smile again. So you see, seeking out Tamika could prove quite educational if nothing else. And who knows, perhaps you will find her temperament to be a welcome change of pace. But speaking of change of pace, I have one last suggestion for you, though it's not one I don't make lightly. The kindred who calls herself Hope. She's a Malkavian. They are a unique cursed clan. For centuries we considered them mad, insane, unhinged. But for those of us who spend enough time with them, come to understand the truth. It is not sickness, but a unique perception of the world that has them appear to us unstable. And that perception can prove to be very valuable. Having a Malkavian as your companion might be taxing on the nerves and the true test of patience at times. but her insight and intuition are unrivaled among kindred. As for Hope specifically, she is said to be a recluse, but I have it on good authority that she can currently be found in an internet cafe, I believe it's called, in Lower Manhattan. Gregory has the address. Where did you learn about Hope? What? One of my colleagues told me about her. He considers her uniquely talented and tapped into the current fads among kind. Not something I'm personally interested in, as I'm sure you know by now. I take his word for it, at any rate. Well, I believe that's all of them. I still have a few social calls to make tonight, so I'll leave you to it. Use tonight and tomorrow night to arrange some cordial visits of your own. I will send Gregory for you as soon as I have further need of your service. Oh, that reminds me, you will need a car. Join us downstairs, won't you? Oh, she's gonna give me a car. She smiles once and turns to her driver. He helps her put on her coat and the three of you leave Sophie's apartment. Sophia points to one of the cars near the building as Gregory hands you the keys. It's a rather inconspicuous, compact car, a decent looking, if not luxurious ride. Stay safe, Carl. This is your first night alone. Don't let it be your last. As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you've had for the past few nights. A blessing or a burden. Time will tell. With a list of addresses in hand, you consider your next move. Let's fucking go! It's a kind of mess. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sources sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction into the bizarre powers of the Tremere. So I'm gonna have to choose. Got Agathon, Hope, Gumshoe in the dark. You're telling me this guy's a Nosferatu? How the fuck is he a Nosferatu? He looks ugly, but he doesn't look Nosferatu ugly. And just a bit. Okay. First, I'm going for the Tremere. I think my Ventrue will be so curious about blood magic, he'll prioritize him. You arrive at the address given to you by Sophie, a small bookstore smack dab in the middle of Broadway, of all places. What really catches you off guard, though, is the store's display. From what you've heard about the Tremere, they are infamous for their ties to the occult and the mystical. And yet now, looking at the oddball collection of items in the display window, it all feels borderline satirical. The books here cover everything from Ayurvedic practices and homeopathy to wellness and self-motivation. The vaguely amusing juxtaposition don't end there either. You notice a copy of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible tucked behind the chief's spine. Okay, I like it. A scientific journal on homeopathy sits next to a teen-oriented pamphlet on the blood-type personality theory. A number of religious and quasi-religious symbols, lockets, pins, and various emblazoned paraphernalia are haphazardly strewn across the display and between the tomes. Before you even open the door, you can smell the burning incense and hear the corny Far East tinged music seeping through the crackling speaker mounted above the entrance. It's much more quaint than what you expect from what Sophie told you about the so-called warlocks. Doesn't look like they have much interest in impressing outsiders. Then again, if there's anything you've learned these past few nights, it's what appearances can be deceiving. That appearances can be deceiving. At this time of night, the shop appears to be closed. Regardless, you ring the bell. You hear someone shuffling around inside. A brief moment later, the latch slides. The door is pushed open just a few inches. A tired-looking blonde in loose clothes appears in the crack. She seems confused, like you just woke her up. She lets out a yawn, scratching at her tattoo neck. Finally, she squints in your general direction. Her pierced lip curves into an awkward smile. Got anything on vampires? No, I'm gonna ask. Hello. I'm looking for a guy named Agathon. Is he around? The girl gives you a suspicious look over but opens the door. She takes a few steps back and you hear the footsteps coming from behind a floral curtain that covers the back door. A bespectacled, smart-looking woman emerges and looks straight at you. Hold on. She looks familiar. I'm gonna continue. Come in and follow me. Just don't touch anything, please. You follow her through the store. Inside, as expected, the stuffy air smells of sandalwood, frankincense, and a dozen of other aromas. I think I spelled frankincense or whatever the fuck that was. The woman leads you behind the curtain and through the back door into a rickety staircase. A flight of steps takes you up the second story. You instantly notice the change in decor, as the tacky New Age bookstores gives way to something resembling a cross between a library and a workshop. The smell here is strong. The smell here is strong too, but much more layered. You're not sure what to make of it at first, but with each whiff, it becomes apparent. Blood. The aroma, though subtle at first, soon becomes overpowering. It takes you a moment to adapt and focus. Yeah, Aisling Sturbridge. Okay, I was wrong. That was her. I don't think you know who you're speaking with, so an introduction is in order. My name is Aisling Sturbridge, and I am the High Regent and the Chantry of the 5 Boroughs. You are Carl, correct? I have to say, you're lucky the word outside the building is only there for notifications tonight. Otherwise, it would have been quite unpleasant. To answer your question, Agathon is here, but he's hard at work and I wouldn't want to disturb him. Am I to understand this is a social visit? How do you know who I am? Well, for one thing, knowing who in this city is one of my duties as High Regent. But more importantly, you've been on the mind of many a kindred since Langley took you in. It's quite a precedent, as I'm sure you know, first under Prince Panhard, and for Sophie to be the one to do it. Curiouser and curiouser. Still, I'm sure you haven't come here to look for dirt on your sire. That wouldn't be why. That would be unwise. Have I? I have already forgot everything. I heard some good things about Agathon. Thought I'd drop in and see how much of it was true. Appealing to our vanity. How very original. You better step up your game, freshling, or New York will eat you right up. Suddenly, a man enters from a side room. He doesn't even look at you, lost in his own thoughts. I have it, Aisling. I think I know how to find it. He catches himself as he notices you. His face turns sour. A visitor. Yes, we were just discussing you, in fact. Is that so? Sophie Langley recommended you. That I contact you about teaming up. Teaming up? Seems very confused by the notion. What for? No, there's no way I'm gonna assist because I don't know shit. Yeah, I could use your knowledge. I'm new here, and a scholar like yourself could teach me a lot, I imagine. You're not wrong. Turns to Aisling. High Regent, may I ask your advice on this? Aisling looks at you with nary a sign of emotion. I believe that you have far more pressing matters to attend to at the moment, my child. That is my intuition as well, High Regent. It's settled then. I would kindly ask that you leave, Freshling. We have many matters to discuss. Matters not meant for undiscerning ears. Both of the warlocks look at you expectantly. Should I do a Victor thing? Will be like, look, I didn't mean any disrespect. I just need to, that he is a Ventrue. That doesn't seem. I'm a Freshling, still a Ventrue. Wait, please, I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm sorry if we started off on the wrong foot. You only get one shot at the first impression, and you've missed yours by a mile. So if you can think of anything clever to say, now would be a good time. Otherwise, you know where the door is. I'm offering my help, if you need it. Your thoughts, Agathon? I believe I can handle the task alone, High Regent. I have full confidence in you, my child, as always. However, I know this Freshling is utterly hopeless at making a good first impression, but I think you should give them a chance to prove their worth. Just one chance. Tonight. Why don't you start by giving our intern here a brief explanation of what it is you're after? A favor for a favor at the end. Agathon gives Aisling a hesitant look, but the woman nods approvingly. Encouraged, he turns towards you. A member of our clan disappeared without a trace a handful of nights ago. While the High Regent investigates if any foul play was involved, I have been tasked with recovering her research notes. There is anything left to recover, that is. I may have an idea where to start looking, I suppose. This is where you come in. If you truly wish to help, I could use your assistance tonight. Right now, in fact, given the time we just wasted on idle chatter, I should leave immediately. What research is this about? They are not gonna tell me shit. Who's the missing person? The missing Kindred. Who is he? Who is she? Single glance at Aisling is enough. You can tell you're not getting an answer, at least for now. But after her research, that's what you should focus on. These people aren't in the habit of making things simple. Facing layers upon layers of secrecy, you can only hope that what lies beneath is the real deal. I'm heading out. Are you coming or not? Sure, I'll join you. Very well. He gives Aisling a slight bow. High Regent, with your permission? She nods. Before you go, however, Karl, defer to Agathon in all things. Our clan values obedience above everything else. Prove you can follow, and this might turn into a mutually beneficial relationship. I'll await his return and his report. Good luck, my child. Agathon bows and heads out, urging you to follow. The High Regent watches you leave. Outside, Agathon leads you to his car. It's almost funny seeing him get behind the wheel. Somehow, you'd expect a more mystical means of transportation. Why am I always in the back? Like, for real. You drive south, heading to the lower east side. Agathon seems lost in thought. Either that or he's a very careful driver. Either way, several minutes pass in silence. So, where are we going? Williamsburg. There's a place there that our missing colleague frequented. Seems to be thinking on the right words before he decides to address you again. Let me ask you something. Why me? There's likely a couple of hundred of us kindred in New York. You seek me out specifically. Why? Sophie spoke highly of you. For once, Sophie spoke highly of you. She gave me a short list of people to meet. You were on it. I see. Once more he grows silent. You are sure whether to continue prying as your driver seems to disappear into his thoughts. You drive into Williamsburg and stop by a fancy-looking building. We're here. There's a restaurant on the top floor. You wanted to help, so here's your chance. I need you to get us inside the VIP lobby. You recognize this place. It's where you were embraced mere a few nights ago. Funny how this restaurant is apparently a vampire magnet. Once we're in, I need about half an hour of focus and some space. It'll be up to you to keep attention away from the room. Can you do it? Doesn't wait for an answer and points to the front door. Go ahead. I'm right behind you. I think Dominate will be the safest bet right now, because I don't have any money to bribe the guy. The two of you take the elevator up the restaurant. The door opens and you see that there are only few guests left, sitting at their tables. An important-looking staff member approaches you. Good evening, I'm very sorry, but the restaurant is closing for the night. I can make a reservation for next week if you wish. Nah, safest bet. Let us in, we insist. No, but we insist. You will let us into the VIP lobby and stay there for as long as we like. But, of course, please come in. You walk in trying to look casual and make your way towards the VIP lobby. You step inside and close the door behind you. This is a familiar sight, the same place where you had your last meal as a mortal. Strange. You should feel something, but the lavishly decorated room looks almost plain to you. Your companion looks at you with something akin to admiration, or at least that's how you choose to interpret the slight change in his usual somber facade. Not bad. Not bad at all. He inspects the room, unusually cold, and Agathon soon discovers why. Looking behind the curtain, a window hangs open. The handle and lock look like they've been dissolved. as if with acid. Oh. God damn it, Juno. Looks like whoever Juno is, looks like she's no longer here. A flash of fury sparks in his eyes. Yeah, no kidding. Takes a frantic look around the room. This changes things. Keep an eye on the door. I need some time, half an hour at the very least. Nobody disturbs me, understand? He hastily pushes the couch and some potted plants out of the way. Oh shit, I'm starting to get hungry. Moves the bar and takes out a curved knife. Cutting into his own arm, he lets some of his blood drip onto the wooden floor. It's pretty fucked up. The way his flesh oozes the deep red, thick vitae. In life, you'd have found stomach churning, but right now you feel weirdly turned on by the sight. What follows is more disturbing yet. With one hand, he sheathes the knife and seals the wound. With the other, he smears the blood around him while muttering some weird chant. It sounds vaguely Latin, but you're pretty sure it isn't. Yeah, it's high Gothic from Warhammer 40k. It's all more than a little disconcerting, but he seems to know what he's doing. A few moments later, the circle starts glowing faintly as thin wisps of smoke surround Agathon. He sits down in the middle, legs crossed, eyes closed. Minutes pass. Agathon's face twitches from time to time, and his head turns every now and then, as if he's looking around or listening in on a conversation. The smoke grows thicker, forming a veil around the mage. He is not a mage, but that's something else. You expected something more flashy, but it's still a sight to behold. You wonder what the point of it is, but refrain from asking. It's probably best to let Agathon do his thing. For close to 30 minutes, you're left to your own devices. Suddenly the door swings open to the major storms in, ready to raise hell. The initial haze must have worn off quicker than usual. Yeah, arguing will be the best. You start shouting a match. We start a shouting match with the manager. Yeah, that's gonna work. That always works. He seems almost happy to oblige. You can tell he's dealt with problematic customers before. You go back and forth for a while until his face becomes red and his voice grows hoarse. At some point, he looks just about ready to throw the first punch. That's when Agathon finally gets up from the floor. He shakes his head and casually walks over to the sofa, picking up something from between the cracks in the upholstery. We're done here. Let's go. Who the hell do you think you are? Get the hell out of my restaurant this instant. Well, if you say like this nicely, I might as well leave. Not wanting to make this situation even any worse, you walk out sheepishly. The manager follows you all the way to the elevator, shouting and cursing. Agathon doesn't seem particularly fazed by any of this. The restaurant staff throws some curious glances as you walk towards the elevator, but wisely decides not to bother you. The ride down feels tense. You half expect to see a police car waiting outside. Agathon only seems to relax once you're back in his car. He starts the engine and takes a right at the Continental Army Plaza, back onto the bridge towards Manhattan. You're just about to say something, but Agathon beats you to it. That went better than I expected, all things considered. No, that went better than I expected, all things considered. It might have been a trick of a light, but you're pretty sure you just saw him smile. I'm used to working alone, but what I'm dealing with right now, it might require some more assistance, and you seem capable enough. No, I'm not sure if this is flirty. This sounds more like a Toreador thing to say. No, I'm gonna say, found what you came for. That's gonna be a no. However, this is more Ventrue. Let's stick to business. So I'm guessing you found what you came for? Sort of. Enough to continue the search, at any rate. That seems to deplete his social battery for the night. Understandable. You drive the rest of the way in silence. Yep. He is on our side now. Doesn't take you long to reach the Warlock's hideout. Agathon waves at you absent-mindedly, once again lost in his thoughts. Hopelessly so. One of these nights, you should probably take him up on his offer. Who knows, if you gain his trust, maybe you can actually break through his stoic facade and meet the man underneath. Okay, make a good impression on... Oh... Okay. So the sun is about to rise.